there was not, or rather the election was not being held on Tuesday up until the 23rd. On this end, would I want us to discuss about, and Lydia, you alluded a bit to it, but Alex, the question of running mates discharging the burden of expectation, because there was what each deputy presidential candidate was supposed to present to the ticket. Do you think the four discharged that duty?
To some extent, but perhaps they didn't meet the expectations. For instance, I can say, for instance, the reason why Mr. Raila chose Martha. One, she wanted to have a sway on the women. And secondly, on the people of the mountain. I do not think that he really managed to get a significant shift, because if that was true, then perhaps we'll be seeing the people of the mountain voting, at least getting a 25 to 30%, which we haven't seen. What I can say is, I think the candidates themselves had done proper groundwork, and the voting as it has been done, people are voting because of the principle of the main candidate. So most people who have voted for Dr. William Ruto, they have voted for him because he did his groundwork, not necessarily because he chose Mr. Gachagua to be his running mate. And most people who have voted for Mr. Odinga, they have voted for him because he's Odinga, and not because he chose Martha Karua as a running mate. Yeah, but at least for Martha, I can say it had a little sway on the women of this country, especially the educated women. Yes. Yeah.
Quite an interesting one there, especially the educated ones.
Yeah, all of them, but then
absolutely discharging that burden of expectation.
I don't think that Martha Karua it's easy to assess how she's delivered, but I think one of the ways that we can begin to look is perhaps look at her hometown and see how Kirinyaga has voted, her constituency, and her polling station. And I think if you look at it that way, then you begin to see that there could be issues, because if you cannot deliver your own polling station, leave alone the ward or the constituency, her own polling station, I think Ruto surpassed, had a lot more votes than Raila. And so that means then that she was not able to persuade even just a small community around where she comes from that this is the right way to go. And I don't think, if you look at the kind of numbers that you see, that even all of the women in that particular station went with her. So if I assess it from that angle,